Could you take those of us who never had the opportunity to be invited there on a journey to San Simeon? Whenever I see those pictures in books of old Hollywood, and there'll be Olivier and Hitchcock and Jeanette MacDonald and Crawford and I guess yourself and everybody lolling on Beatrice Lilly and others, Nigel Bruce, on the lawn at San Simeon, an incredible Hearst mansion. I wonder, is it as fun as I imagined it? Was it stuffy? Did you have to be careful because he was living with another woman?
Well, it was incredible. I knew the boys well. They invited me up. Bill, who's now running the whole empire, and Randy and Jack. And it was fantastic. It was quite extraordinary. And the first time I went up there, I went in by the back gate by mistake. And it was 114 miles to the house. Through all those ranches and things. And then we got that adjusted. We kept, the usual way up was about 3 miles from the coast highway. But it was fabulous and terribly exciting. And we used to have these meals at this immense refectory table for monks. And but ketchup bottles and things on the tables, because he loved to call it the ranch, and it was full of treasure, full of wonderful things he collected. And it was fairly strict.
Yeah.
I mean, you were invited to bring a friend, but if you overdid it in any way, you were invited to leave very quickly. And you got a message with your breakfast that that the car would come and the train was leaving at 9:30.
Now, what kind of indiscretion would you have to have committed to?
Well, if you got too close to your friend was usually the sin.
Oh.
Because he didn't fancy that.
Well, he was sort of an odd combination, wasn't he? Sort of puritanical. His papers were always chastising the country for morality, while he was, in fact, living with a woman who wasn't his wife.
It's true, yes. And she was a sensational creature, I thought.
Marion Davies?
Yeah. And terribly sweet and fun. And he was awe-inspiring. He scared me rather, but he was very nice. And he used to take me for walks. He had a private zoo there and all that. And pick your brain if you were young and could think at all. He'd try and would pick your brain. Didn't get much out of me, but did his best. I loved it, and they often went up there. I went up there last time. My wife and I, and Bill Hearst and his wife, it was just the four of us. And this was the weekend it was shut up completely and given over to the state of California. And we stayed in one of the guest houses, the four of us, at New Year's Eve. It was very sad for Bill Hearst, because that was the end of it, the whole thing. And in the morning, the people came up in the buses and tramping through all those rooms and everything. That was the end.
It was turned over to the state as a curiosity, really, I guess.
Well, I think it's running
Tourist,
all the time. It's full of tourists.
Yeah.
But he had 136 degrees view. 300. What is it? The whole thing.
Let's see, they're 360 in a circle, aren't they?
380.
See.
Well, the whole thing.
Well, with inflation, I think it's probably 380 now.
180 degrees.
See, 180 is half, and 360 is.
That's right. But he had the whole lot. It was all his.
Yeah. Amazing. I love the idea of somebody saying, "I'll let you off at the back gate, and goodbye." Car goes off, and you find that the house is 114 miles.
It was a very jumpy gate. The small gate, the small way. You went through the open zoo, and lots of gates. Beware, animals have preference, all that written up. And you get out and pull a rope, and the gate would go up, and a couple of zebras would come out, or dromedaries.
Even if you hadn't been drinking.
Yes.
We have 5 minutes left. I wonder if you'd tell an anecdote that you may be tired of, but I think is wonderful and haven't heard you tell ever. And it had to do with revenge on two lady journalists. Does that ring a bell? It was involved a nightclub, and I believe Ida Lupino.
Oh, yes.
And,
for one moment I was shaken.
Do you think I'd read the wrong book?
Yes, I did. I was very nervous indeed.
It's all about when you were married to Joan Crawford.
Well, let me think now. Yes. They were very nosy, had to hop and dwell past, and they could make your life miserable, you know.
Yeah.
And they could destroy people, I think, to a great extent. But I rather liked them, and I was chicken anyway. I used to send them roses, because then they were my friends. They loved roses, and it all went rather nicely, but they were very nosy. And so one day, we decided to pull their legs. And Howard Duff and Ida Lupino were married, and my wife and I married. And so we split up for the night. And I called up Sears, I think, a restaurant, and said, could I have a table for two? Just very quiet in the corner. And the man said, oh, yes, you and Madame. I said, no, sure. so I arrived with Lupino, of course. Mm-hmm. And popped eyes all round. And he said, yes, I said, got the table. He said, yes. So he took us over the corner. Lupina then went a bit far. She put her tongue down my ear. Strange. And photographers are now massing. That was in those days they did. Then in came Duff, of course, with my wife, with Yordis. Mm-hmm. And pandemonium. They were taken over the other side, over there. And we did the big thing of suddenly singing. And then, we did the whole thing, and then we advanced through the table, and the cameras were going, you know. Uh-huh. And off coats, the whole thing. Then we kissed each other on the lips.
You and Howard Duff?
Yes. And they were furious. Hedda Hopper called me up and said she wouldn't tolerate it. She said she'd been woken up at 4 in the morning with a scoop. Oh, it's furious.
Awakened her with a false alarm, right?
Oh, and Lupina, I remember her saying, here he comes, you must flee. She said, you must flee.
Who's writing their dialogue? Oh, that's funny. But they really, apparently those ladies could do people in. I did a show with Stuart Granger who talked about those women and what they could do to people.
Yeah.
He booted one of them as she was bending over a table one time.
He did. Joe Cotton booted one. He booted...
I'm sorry, it was Cotton. It was Granger who told the story about Cotton.
He warned her. He said to Hedda, you write about me and Deanna Durbin once more, I shall kick you up the thing.
Yeah.
And he saw her going into an opening. He gave her one right up the...
And apparently into the avocado dip.
Yeah.
That may not be true. I hope it is, but it may not be.
He always tamed it.
Yeah. Do you have only happy memories of the old...
I really do. I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, I underlined, Dick, so much, if you were lucky. Because most people weren't. If you were lucky, it was a wonderful life. Yeah. And still is, if you're lucky. But I always, when I get letters from parents or from kids who want to become actors and actresses, I always said the same thing. Give it everything you've got. Try it, by all means. But do know that luck is the main thing. Doesn't matter how much talent you have. If you don't have the luck to show it, you're in trouble. So have something else to do around about 20.
So does this mean there are many Nivens and Flynns who just didn't have the luck, who ended up...
Millions of them.
Yeah. Gee.
Anyway, the luck goes on.
Yes, I hope it does. We have the ill luck to be at the end of this half hour.
Oh.
Would you take that again? Oh. It's a pleasure to see you, and I hope you can come back.
I'd love to. Thank you, Dick, very much.
We'll see you next time. Good night.